Howdy, folks. I just got off a plane today, but the truth does not sleep, so neither will I until I make some new content about this IPF saga, another one. And today's episode is, of course, a continuation of how IPF Korea, in particular, pretends to follow rules set by IPF headquarters, but that doesn't seem to be the case. And the focus is going to be on equipment. So maybe not as upsetting as the previous video, but I think this is good information for current members of IPF Korea and the potential members of IPF Korea to know so that they know what they're paying for and whether they're being given the service that is expected of the Federation. So a gentleman pointed this out to us on Instagram. I won't say who the exact author of this article is, but it brought attention to some details that I wanted to go over. So, I'll put that link in the description. But several years ago, if you look, it says, maybe not that long ago, but 2021, an individual sent an email to IPF headquarters in Sweden. I forget the country exactly, I think. I've done this too, a very similarly written email, but his is more recent, so I'll base it off of his. And to get to the point, it contains a lot of legitimate complaints. But today, again, I'm going to focus on the equipment. So point number one he brings up is related to blocks, or should I say rubber blocks used for platform. But I want to go in order. And as I said, I never want to say, take my word for it. Let's go to the IPF website. You can see their technical rulebook. I, of course, chose the English one because that's my first language. Unfortunately, Korean is not available. I opened that up and I went down to the page about equipment and specifications, the focus of today's video. So the first thing that pops up is scales, meaning weigh-in scales, which is generally done 2 hours before you lift. And I'll read it quickly. It says electronic digital type to the, this is important, second place of decimals, so 0.01, right? Doesn't have to be 1 at the end, but at least has to go to the second decimal. They must have a capacity of, this is important, up to 180 kilos. And third important detail is you must have a certificate to accompany the scales within 1 year of the date of the competition. Notice this does not say championship level or local level, like all competitions in IPF in the world are supposed to be according to these rules. So I happen to know, this is a matter of fact, irrefutable again. I'm going to try to be all about the truth here. I happen to know the exact scale that was used, or scales that were used at a relatively recent IPF Korea competition. And I have exact photos of them. So give me a moment. So this, the name of the company is CAS, CAS, a very popular company for making scales. This is the one that was used for a competition in 2022 for IPF Korea. And let's zoom in, shall we? It says maximum 150 kilos, which is not 180. And it says D, that means like the unit of measurement. I don't know what D stands for, but I know that represents the unit of measurement is 100 grams. Again, I'm not great at math, but that is not the second place to decimal, because if you have 1 kilo and then you go to 100 grams, it's only point and then the next number, right? Not 0.0 and then the next decimal point. So of course, this is not acceptable. Now, please don't get upset with the, if you happen to know, the gym that hosted this meet. That gym was not told any of this, and IPF Korea headquarters was in charge of arranging the entire meet. They simply rented the space. So this just happened to be a scale at that gym, but the gym owner has nothing to do with this. It's not his fault that this happened. It was up to IPF Korea. If you want to see the other scale they used, yeah, That's the other scale they used. I don't even know what that company is. They're relatively affordable scales, of course, and they were just sitting there at the gym, and they use these to weigh in the competitors. Now, I don't know how accurate these scales are, right? But I can 100% guarantee they're not within spec of IPF. They don't go to the second decimal point, and they certainly do not have certifications, right? So everything is being violated, and that could potentially hurt the members, right? Like, what if you showed up 2 hours ahead of time, right on schedule? You did this big cut, water cut, whatever it took. You weighed yourself at home, you thought you're good to go, you show up, and you don't make weight. IPF Korea, by the way, did not allow same-day weight changes. So some athletes, and this is for real, at this exact competition, I'm not saying it's the scale's fault, we don't know, right? But some athletes were barred from competing because they did not make weight, and that's it. They didn't get their money back, they couldn't compete, so they prepped for nothing. And there's a chance that the scale could have been the reason that this happened, right? We don't know because they're not certified and up to spec. So there is potential harm to the members and a lot of time wasted. All right, now I can speak from experience because I do know what kind of scale should be used. Here we go. So I, as a meet director, purchased this scale. And again, it's up to your opinion whether you find that to be expensive or not. I think that is around the price I paid for it several months ago, last year. But I also paid an extra fee for the certification because I had to make sure. Now, this is not the exact website I use, by the way, because I don't remember. But on the website I purchased it, there was like an extra option for paying for certification. And they even called me and told me this is going to take like 2 extra weeks or 3. I think it actually took like almost a month extra to get that official certification. And for USAPL, it has to be within 2 years. So I still have a decent amount of time. It's not just 1 year. If you want to know the specifications, I went on the actual company website. You can see it here in Korean. I went on the English version of the website. You can see it there. And if you go down, yeah, it's very fine-tuned. It goes to the 0.0 and then whatever, right? And if you want to see the manual, it says D, or unit of measurement, is up to, or should I say minimum 20 grams. So it's like 0.02, right? And that is within spec. I got the certificate. It goes up to 250 kilos, so I'm good. Okay, let's go back to the rule book. Platform. This is a big deal. All lifts shall be carried out on a platform measuring whatever. I don't think there's any violation of this being made so far. It must not exceed 10 centimeters in height from the surrounding stage or floor. This might be an issue. Okay, just remember that. And then it says it must be flat, firm, and level, and covered with non-slip, smooth carpet. And look at this. Rubber matting or similar sheeting materials are not permitted. So if you go down, his first major point is using blocks for sound deadening under the weights for deadlifts. So I wasn't there, so keep this in mind, but I heard, and I may be wrong, that sound complaints from the building owner where some of these competitions were held were an issue. So people were told, or competitors were told, to put their deadlifts down slowly as to not upset the building owner. But I'm sure some of you may or may not know if that's true. Okay? And if you look at his picture, he did a very, very good job here. Look at that. They actually use extra rubber mats to reduce sound. So think of all the violations happening right now. First of all, rubber mats are not allowed anyway. And then they put more, looks like 2 layers of extra rubber mats to deaden the sound. Therefore, it's not level, right? And how is this even valid? The lift is going to be altered clearly, based on this. And I have more. So I have videos relating to this. And we have our very own coach, Chigwon Jung. I didn't blur his face because I asked him for permission to post this video, and he's fine with it. So let's take a look here. This is, by the way, on the same day that you saw those rubber mats on top of the rubber mats. So there is essentially like a block pull going on here. So I'll press play. And oh, and please do not criticize anyone else in this video. I mean, I blurred their faces just in case, but it's not the fault of the spotters and loaders. It was not their decision to use rubber mats or extra, cushioning or whatever. They're just there to help, but I still blurred their faces, so I'll just, don't even look at those guys. Doesn't matter. All right, so he's going trademark Sumo King style. I'll just I'll play it normally first. Okay, success. Why is this a problem? He can admit it too. He said, this is 290 kilos. That's heavy. I'm not saying he's not capable of 290 kilos, but he said, and gave me permission to say this, that at that time of the competition, he said there's no way he could have pulled 290 kilos under fair circumstances. He admitted that the rubber mats that I'm pointing out, extra ones, gave him an unfair advantage. He said it felt like a block pull. In fact, he said he felt like he could have gone for 300 kilos, but someone told him not to go too crazy because maybe that person believed that the lifts were already illegitimate. And he himself didn't want to go to 300 because he felt like, it was an unfair advantage for himself. Now let's do it in slow motion because this is what matters. Maybe not so much slow motion, I'll just pause it where it matters. Pay attention. Don't pay attention to the barbell per se, because if you're a powerlifter, you probably know the barbell itself can bend as the lifter pulls the slack out of the bar. But the plates, pay attention to the height of the plates here. Okay? Look, already. He's pulling out the slack, yet the plates are moving. That does not happen. That's literally impossible under legitimate hard surface, wood, carpet standard. And we're not talking a little bit here. Like, he has a very good wedging style and slack pull. So when he pulls the slack out, look at it. Look how much different the height is of these plates. He hasn't engaged a lift yet. So when he does engage a lift here, he's essentially at a higher height than the actual floor would be without those extra mats. And then he pulls it off. And he admits, even now, that he probably could not have pulled this off in a normal circumstance. All right, pay attention now too. Look when he drops it. Okay, slow motion. Look at that bounce. Look how much it goes into the platform and bounces. By the way, there's a reason federations are not allowed to have rubber flooring, and one of them is safety. When you drop a deadlift and it bounces that hard, and by rule you have to follow the bar to the floor, otherwise no lift, it could hurt you. It bounces back into you, and you're talking like 300 kilos, 400 kilos for some people. Imagine all that weight being transferred back into your wrist because you're trying to hold on to the bar to follow the rules. People can get hurt, for real, right? So look at this. I mean, look at this guy's foot even. He knows, again, not his fault, but he knows that this extra rubber matting is gonna like move. So he puts his foot on top ahead of time. Look at it. Look at this bounce. You see this? That's the extra rubber flooring bouncing up off the floor. That's how crazy high it was. Even over here, you can see? That extra thing is... Oh, sorry, you can't really see because my freaking face is in the way. But anyway, my big face is in the way. I guess you could take my word for it. The rubber flooring is coming up. So we got a lot of rules being violated here, and it's straight up unsafe for the lifter. Okay, so they're putting the lifters at risk without the correct flooring. Okay. I don't know, like I can't say this, like I don't know if that's more than 10 centimeters, like this platform. I mean, it's minor, but I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Let's take a look at what happened at another competition. All right, so at another competition, I won't say when, I don't remember, the spotters are being given instruction by someone And we're not sure what they're saying exactly, but someone is instructing the spotter to do something regarding the dropping of the barbell. Okay, I'm gonna play it out for a few seconds. He's being instructed to do something. I'm not playing the audio, but the audio actually does contain what he's saying if you listen really carefully, but it's loud. Okay, and then after this point, suddenly this happens during the competition. So this man is doing a sumo deadlift. He gets the down command there. I paused it. And look at the two spotters on the side. After they were given instruction to do something, suddenly their behavior changes and they do this. I'll play that again. So it's up to you to decide whether they were given instruction to do so. But after that, suddenly they were following the bar through, and the lifters were all doing a very slow eccentric. There is nothing in the rule book stating that lifters are supposed to do a slow eccentric and that the spotters are going to help them bring it to the ground. But the rule book does in fact state that the lifter has to follow the bar through the ground. And technically, oh, this makes sense now that I think about it. If someone touches the bar before the lift is completed, that invalidates the lift. I believe that is a red and then yellow card once spotters touch it. You don't get a red or a white light until you put the bar down and follow it through. Therefore, if they touched it before that point, it's an invalid lift. But don't blame them. It seems pretty apparent that, I can't say for sure, that they were instructed to do so. Okay? And this is not the only, this is just an example. It kept happening every single time people lifted after this, and everyone who was there at this competition, you know what happened. All right, also, you can't see it because I blurred their faces, but this lifter was exhausted from putting it down slowly. You know, it's not easy to max out and then put it down slowly in a controlled manner. And you can see he's like not used to this, so he's shocked. And then, in fact, when he gives that expression, everyone in the crowd starts laughing. I don't know why they're laughing, but I think you can take a guess. So yeah, that happened. Is that unsafe for the lifter? It could be, right? I mean, you're expected to just lift it, not fall through all the way to the ground with a controlled eccentric. That takes extra energy. That could potentially alter your energy or muscular fatigue for your second and third attempts, or you might just get straight up hurt. Who knows, right? So, a lot of safety issues hand here. I mean, I think there's a reason the rule books doesn't state you're allowed to do this because it puts the lifter at risk, right? Let's go back to what I do know. I myself have made one, two, three, four, five. I've made 5 competition spec platforms, and it is not, in my opinion, very expensive to make. You could do it with 4 to 6 pieces of wood, and then you just need to get carpet. I would say in Korea at least, you can pull that off for 400,000 to 500,000 Korean won, meaning, I don't know, like $300 to $400 USD. And that's it. Again, some people might be like, that's expensive, but that's what membership fees and registration fees are supposed to go toward. And it's a long-term expense. Like the wood does not get destroyed from just one competition. I've had people drop 370 or 80 kilos on it from a deadlift, and the platforms are still good to go. Maybe I'll have to renew the carpet once in a while, but it's not that expensive. So this is definitely something they can do. It's not hard. And by the way, it's not just those competitions I showed you. IPF Korea has literally never used a competition spec platform. I can guarantee that's true. And every single one I've personally seen and heard from, it was rubber flooring. Again, do not blame any gyms that hosted the meets. They were not in charge. In fact, they were just essentially granting a space to IPF Korea. That's it. They were not actually the meet directors, IPF Korea headquarters, in charge of all that. Okay, now, I know, sorry I'm rambling for a long time. I'm tired, if you can't see it on my face, but the truth must go on. Is there anything else? I'll just show you a video. Do not blame anyone in this video. I'm not criticizing the competitor or the spotters loaders. I'm just trying to point out that there's a rule violation. And it's hard to see, so I'm gonna have to really slow down. As she exits, right there, if you look really closely, by the way, I was physically here at this competition, so I can say this is not hearsay. She's wearing a A7 bar grip shirt. I love A7, great stuff, but bar grip with the rubber material on the back is not allowed. It literally says in the book. T-shirt. Right. The t-shirt must be constructed entirely of fabric or a synthetic textile and shall not consist in whole or part of any rubberized or similar stretch material, etc. So again, they are not really doing the gear checks if they're allowing a shirt like A7 bar grip to go through. But I will say there's nothing wrong with bar grip t-shirts outside of competition. People love it for squatting, benching in particular, right? Good apparel otherwise. However, this is really minor. Like, I can admit that once in a while, a equipment check violation will go through, and the rulebook does state that if by chance it does go through, it's not the end of the world. You don't give red lights based on it. You just tell the lifter after you catch it, if you missed it the first time, hey, you can't do that. You got to change your shirt or whatever rule you violated. They'll just tell you. You'll never get red lights based on that. So that's minor, but I'm just trying to show all the potential complaints that can come out of equipment related to IPF Korea. All right, this video is getting very long already, so I'm going to keep it to that. So again, thank you for sending this letter to IPF Korea. Oh, sorry, IPF headquarters. Viewers, if you are curious, IPF headquarters never responded. He sent it multiple times, and they never responded to me either. This guy did write a whole bunch of other complaints, but I'm going to save that for another video. So, take what you will from it. Sorry about the poor video audio quality. I'm on my laptop, technically on vacation right now. Make your own opinions, make your own decisions, do what's right, only the truth. Peace.